Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're with me for the first time, my name is Melissa Reed and I am a mixed media artist. So today I have in front of me an 8" by 8" cradled board, and I got this off of Amazon. I will go ahead and have links for all of this in my description. You might remember last week I did some leaf prints on the gel plate and pulled several different colors and different types of papers. And I used some of those in a video last week, which will be in the end screen for you if you haven't had a chance to check that out. But I had a lot of these left, and I decided to use them in another piece. So I had talked before about developing your own style, and this is one way. Using the same kind of elements in multiple pieces is a way to develop your own style. But for now, you see this cradled panel here, which I have gessoed with Liquitex gesso. I will have links to all of this for you in the description, of course, as always. Got that primed and let it dry. So I don't know exactly what this is going to look like or how I'm going to go about it. I just know that I'm going to use these elements that I have available to me. Now I'm pulling out some paints that kind of go along with the colors that I have for those leaf prints. There's a yellow ochre, I have a copper, I have unbleached titanium, and I believe pale olive. And I'm just going to start dry brushing those over the surface. And I'm going very loosely here and just kind of blending as I go and mixing colors as I go. I'm going to use all three of those, and you'll see the very interesting color that ends up forming on the background. And you can see there I added a little bit of water to spread the paint out a little further. Again, no real goal here other than to cover and get this first layer on. This is typically how I start, is just by starting, which kind of sounds silly to say, but it's the best way to remove the fear of that blank canvas or blank substrate that you've got in front of you. Just put something down and go from there. That's how I kind of attack all of my different projects that I do. You see I switched up to a different brush. That was just because I had a little too much paint on the first one, and I really want that kind of dry brush blending to go on there to really get all of those colors enmeshed, and they will almost become one without getting muddy, if that makes sense. And because I'm using acrylics here, they do dry very quickly, so I'm able to put a second layer on very quickly. But I really like the way these colors blend together. It's kind of just a soft, dreamy background. Okay, so while that is still wet, I'm going in with a pen and nib and carving Asemic writing into the background. So I am not actually dipping in any ink and putting anything down on the surface right now, just removing a little bit of the paint that is already there to reveal what's underneath. Now, most of this is going to be covered up, but again, I don't worry too much about that as I'm going through my process. I just want as much interest and as many layers as possible. You can see what we ended up with there. I actually really like the way that looks, and it's kind of sad that most of it didn't make it through, but you do still see bits and pieces come through the other layers. So this next part is just a lot of auditioning, because while basically most of those sheets of leaf prints that I have, they would have worked in harmony with the colors that I have down there. It was almost like too many choices, and I couldn't decide what to do. So I ended up tearing out several. So you can see there, when you tear your collage sheets, especially if you're using copy paper or something thicker, sometimes you'll end up with a white edge around it. The best way to do that is to, when you're tearing, hold the piece that you want to use as the collage sheet and use your left hand to tear down, and that's going to not expose that white edge. If you want the white edge on there as a design element, just do it in reverse. Pull up on what you're tearing away, if that makes sense. So I go through here and I'm just tearing and tearing and tearing, and I swear I probably had 5 or 6 different configurations on here before I finally decided which one I was going to go with. I do like them all of the different leaves, and I still have tons of them left, and they will definitely make an appearance in more pieces, but it basically had to come down to me just making a decision. As I was doing that, though, it occurred to me that while I really liked the background, it was kind of plain, and if I was going to start gluing leaves down, it just felt like it was missing something. So I decided to go in with some pastels in similar colors to what I had down there and go over the texture that I had created by carving into the wet layers and try to get some lights and darks within those recesses of the letters, but also just to create a little bit more of a varied background with some more dark areas, because it was very pretty and very dreamy, but also tonally all almost identical. So to the eye, it almost became flat to look at. So I just wanted to make it more interesting, and I used various things to do that. But first, as I said, I went in with these pastels and just used my finger to blend everything, and then that brush basically was just removing the excess pastel dust off of the surface. Next, I got the idea to use a combination of acrylic ink and rubbing alcohol. So I sprayed down the surface first, and then I dropped some of the brown ink down there. I will have a list of the exact colors that I used, like I said, at the end. And I'm taking my brayer and moving it across the surface because A, it's one of the quickest ways to get coverage without getting brush marks, and also it was creating an interesting pattern on its own. And I have a spray bottle of rubbing alcohol that I keep in the studio, and I just untwisted the lid and shook some of it on there, and you can see how it pulls back on that ink, and it's already looking way more interesting than it was before. And now I've let everything dry, and I decided to go in with some Payne's Gray acrylic ink and do some more of the Asemic writing. This is going to go along with the Asemic writing that I did when I carved it into the wet surface, but it's also going to just add some more areas of interest. Now I am actually dipping straight into the ink at this point and just doing some areas, but you can see I'm rolling a piece of, using a roller over a piece of tissue paper to remove some of the ink so that it's not extremely obvious on the surface, and it kind of just blends a little bit into the background. So it looks almost as if it's covered up partially, and I'm only doing 3 areas of this because I don't want the entire thing covered over with it. All of these steps are just to create more layers and more interest in the background. And I like the way that looked, and I'm going to go in with some more acrylic ink. That is the Antelope Brown in the Rowney, which is, as you know, one of my very favorites. And I'm going in again with more rubbing alcohol and creating those circular patterns with the ink. Went in with a little bit of turquoise as well, and I'm just spreading that around. And these are all just adding more and more layers and more depth. And when you put that alcohol down, it gives those wonderful patterns. And I just do this over and over again with various inks to the point where I'm happy with the way that it looks. Here I'm mixing some of the turquoise with the Antelope Brown, and it gets that really pretty greenish color. And the colors all kind of go together, and you'll notice they all still go pretty well with those leaf patterns that I've printed on the gel plate there too. So I'm kind of keeping that in mind as I do this background. I want it to be able to go in a lot of different directions. Since I don't know exactly which one I'm going to be able to use, I just want to make sure that I could use basically any of them. And for that reason, I did have some red prints too, so I decided to add some red to the background as well. That's alizarin crimson in the golden high flow, and it operates very similar to an ink. So again, I'm just putting a little bit of that on there with water. I've got a roll-off sheet there to remove the excess, and I actually end up keeping that too because I'll be able to use that in another project. But I put the ink down on there, and I'm just going to go in with my towel and remove a large quantity of it. I'm doing that because I do want a little bit of the red, but I don't want it to overpower, and alizarin crimson is a pretty strongly pigmented color and it can easily overpower. You can see just with the little bit that I put on there, it definitely tinged everything with that kind of pinkish hue to it, which is fine, and I really like the way that looks. It almost looks kind of like an antique wallpaper or something at this point, which I think is really cool. And if you look closely, you can still see little bits of the Acrylic writing that I did in ink. And also, if you look very closely, you can see some of the Acrylic writing that I had etched in there, carved in there with the pen and nib as well. Nothing that stands out too much, but everything adds a little bit to it. And now I'm bringing back the leaf shapes, and you can see already how much more harmonized that background is to the leaves. And ultimately, I end up going with these ones that are printed on copy paper in the brown paint, and that is, I believe I picked that up in, boy, I can't remember. I'd have to look back at that video, but it's basically an off-white, either titanium buff or some combination of like a cream color there, and it just works really well with the colors of that background. And I saved you the tedium of watching me tear out each of these leaves individually, showed you a couple of them, and then I just have a whole bunch of them that I already did. I had considered putting that alizarin crimson tissue over top to tinge some of them red, but I tried it out and I didn't really like it, so I decided to go this route instead. Now these ones are printed on tissue paper, and that is the same brown that's on those lighter colored ones, but the background is a combination of several different paints that I used. I believe there's like a pale blue, maybe Prussian blue, and the pale olive mixed all together to create that kind of light teal color there. And I'm arranging those in a sort of curved pattern and gluing them all down. But I decided that those off-white ones were just a little too bright for what was going on in the background. So I added some of the brown ink to a brush, and I'm just going over top to knock that brightness back just a little bit so that it's not, it appears less that they're sitting on the surface now and they kind of belong more to the piece because the colors harmonize just by adding that slight bit of darkness to them. I hope that makes sense. But I sprayed them with water then, and also tapped some of it off, just again so that it's not just a flat layer of paint sitting on top of those. Again, just more visual texture and interest. I did the same thing with the green ones, just to knock those back a little bit and make everything come together. And then I decided that I wanted more darkness around the perimeter, especially there at the bottom. So I'm going in with a mixture of, the one that I just used is a watered down Payne's Gray. I do end up going in with some more of the brown and also some more full strength Payne's Gray. And I'm just using a brush going around there. It's almost just kind of like staining the surface a little bit. It's very transparent. You can still see the patterns of the design underneath, but it's just creating darkness and shadow and depth and dimension, which I think was really lacking there up to that point. And putting those darker colors down is even more creating a look of like an antique feel. This just kind of looks like something you might find in an antique shop or something like that. I don't know, at least in my opinion. You'll have to let me know what you think. I went and added a little more up at the top too, because while I don't want that to be super dark and heavy, I just think it really works along the edges and especially in those corners. It just adds a little bit of something to it. At this point, I'm thinking about how I might want to finish the piece, and I had thought about possibly doing some of my ransom note style lettering up there in the center, but ultimately I decided not to do that because it was already such a dark background. I didn't think they would show up well enough, and while I could have gone in with some lighter paint and resolved that problem, I decided that I didn't want to go in that route. What I am going to do here, though, is get some of that copper paint and my rigger brush, which is just a liner brush, and I'm going over just some of the edges of the leaf prints there and just outlining those and giving them a little bit of a shimmer. There is some of that copper in the background, and if you hold it at a certain angle, you can still catch some of that shimmer. So it does make visual sense to have that. It's not a newly introduced element. But I think it just added a tiny bit more, and again, it kind of keeps going along with that antique type feel to it. And I did extend that down below the actual pieces of leaf paper there too. Again, it's just creating a little bit more interest and giving the eye a pattern to follow. I opted to only do that on the lighter colored pieces and not the green pieces. I think it would have been too much to try to push it into those. So to finish up the piece, I decided I wanted to add one more leaf, but at a different angle, kind of floating up there in the top. So I ripped one out entirely. So it's similar but not the same because it's not on a chunk of paper that is attached. It's just the leaf by itself. And I just rough tore that with my fingers. Added some of the brown paint as I did with the ones below. Excuse me. And I am going to go in with the copper color and my rigger brush and outline that whole entire leaf in the gold paint. First, though, I decided to take a piece of my dark charcoal and outline the whole thing and blending that in just with my finger to create a dark border around the whole piece, dark yet soft. I could do this with paint, but I'm not going to get the same softness as I would with the chalk, and with the softness that's already in the background, this just works really well to bring everything completely together. The final step I'm going to do is to outline that leaf in the copper color. And while I go ahead and do that, I just wanted to say thank you all again for joining me today. Thank you so much for all of the likes and hypes, and thank you to everyone who has subscribed. I really appreciate all of that. And if you like this video and could do the same, I would greatly appreciate that as well. But I'm just going to finish lining up this piece here, and then I'll show you what we ended up with. This piece will be available on my Etsy shop. I will have a link for that flash on the screen here, but there also is a link to that and all of my other social media in the description of the video as well. And in just a moment, I'm going to show you what we ended up with. All right, here it is all finished. I really like this piece. I didn't go into it with any particular idea except for the fact that I was going to use some of the elements that I had left from last week. And if you look at the piece that I did last week, which I will show you here, it's a completely different concept than what I have on the piece I did today. Now, they could potentially go together, I wouldn't say as a set, but they could be displayed together in a room because they are similar enough, but they're not the same. And it's just interesting to think about how many different ways you can use the same element to create different pieces of art. But I hope you can take something from that and take it and carry it over into your own art. And thank you all again for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you back here next Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time for another video. Take care.